Good morning, everybody. So OBS for some reason decided to stop working for me this morning, and yesterday my Wi-Fi cut out in the middle of the stream. So that's pretty unfortunate. But at least it cut out 2 minutes before stream was supposed to end at 58, I think. So that's fine. Today we're gonna be doing some rendering, coloring, and what I wanted to do for today is something a bit special. So I wanted to start off with kind of taking these references and then highlighting special areas of light and shadow. So this looks kind of AI generated, I'm not gonna lie, but let's see what we can do with it. That was this, right? Orange maybe. There's also one more thing I want to do. Let's set all of this to grayscale. Actually, before I do that, let's color pick a couple of the colors here. I'll start off with what seems to be the lightest part. Maybe here. And I want part of the lighter shadows here. And let's pick the part in the deepest shadow. I'll pick some of the, I'll pick this color. See, this one does seem to be more red and this one does seem to be more orange. Let's pick the color of the hair. Let's do the base color. Let's do, there seems to be 2 shades of blue here. This color and then this color. Some reflection on the hair. You do see there's a highlight here. And then this kind of orange color here. Let's see. So I think whoever do this, use 3 colors for highlights to the hair, 1 color for the dark shadows, and then 1 color for the base. And then this actually does seem to be another one here, to be another color. So we can compare all of this values later. The color here looks to be a lot more saturated than the color on the neck and this part. Seems to be a little bit of gradient. The lips look, oh, this part. see some kind of color on the chin. And then we do see some kind of blush skin, so let's do a quick comparison. Right. So let's see the difference between I'm gonna put this up here for now. Difference between this color. Basically, it's kind of just shifted up directly, and then you change the hue. So the part that's facing the sun directly, so the sun is coming from left to right. Sorry, from right to left. So you can see the part that's facing the sun is more red and more dark. The part that's facing away is more orange and more light. For the skin, let's see, it's basically a super light color that's in between red and orange. And for the shade, kind of just move it to the right and then make it more saturated. Well, right means more saturated, down means more dark in value. Let's check for the blush here that's in between. Yeah, that's about the same color, right? So if we start over here, we gradually transition over here, we see that we're moving to the left on the color square, and then in terms of the color, we're kind of going to red, right? And then check the blue highlight, right? Wow, directly on the other end, and it's in the middle, so it's very saturated, but also it's right, it's like somewhat light and somewhat dark. As we start transitioning to red here, we see that it's basically saying the same value, but it's becoming less saturated, right? And it's moving from a teal blue to like a kind of like darker blue almost. Not really. And in this region here, it's kind of shifting between blue and purple. Yeah, as you transition here, you see a very big transition. Let's check this part. See, so when I go from light blue to this kind of border color here, it does drop a bit in saturation, and it also becomes blue. Now here it goes back up. On the lips, check out this difference. It looks kind of red, but in actuality it's more blue here, and it's decreased in value, which is interesting because you expect the lips to be increased in value since it's more light. That doesn't seem to be the case after all. The nose, about the same color as the skin. Some kind of light highlight here that's like purplish. I don't highlight that, but that's interesting. And here we do see kind of the same color here. Maybe there's some kind of like shadow. You can see like some kind of indentation here for the lighter part and the darker part for the brow ridge. Now for the hair, let's see. What's the difference between the hair and the shadow? Not a lot actually, right? Between the hair and the shadow, really, the hair is just becoming a bit less saturated. And then the difference between this and this is more immense. although it looks like it's almost like a direct vertical drop, so it's basically staying the same saturation, but it's just dropping in value. So and it seems like the hue is changing from like light blue to teal blue. Interesting. And this red is very red actually. Wow. Very light, saturated. There's some orange, but how do they even choose these colors? There's orange and red. For this orange, it becomes more, let's see. For this, it's like very light and very desaturated. For this one, it's even more light and more saturated. So this is like almost like direct light. For this blue color here, this one is okay, I see. It's staying the same value, but it's just becoming more saturated than the red, and then it's just interesting. Okay, so these blue and orange spots are maybe the direct spots, but I wouldn't understand why there's like a blue highlight when the sun looks like it's red. Like you can see this like the direct light, and the orange is kind of just like the rim light. Hues, I think, very similar. Interesting. Okay, that was a nice study. Let's swap to a different one. Actually, before we do that, I want to finish this piece in its entirety. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this the color analysis. And for another one, I'm going to call it the light and shadows. For light and shadows, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the spots, and yeah, okay. So what I want to do is kind of like deconstruct how he, I shouldn't say he, I don't know the gender of the person who drew this, but kind of mark the areas in light. You can see this is kind of follows the way his hair is trimmed, right? And you see how it's not just one form, there are also sublight forms within, right? Check this out. Kind of curves, curves here, and then part of the ear protrudes out, so it gives form to this shadow, this intermediate shadow. The part of the brow, so the brow is, and the face, you see how it makes a distinct line. This is to highlight the cheek bones, right? Comes down here. I think this also shows how there's like kind of like a line here for the neck, but kind of the neckline, something like this. And behind the ear, actually it's not that visible, it's like completely off. But not because they don't know how to draw, it's because it's it's more of like a stylistic choice, and also like the angle of the sun. I'll draw the outline too. I'm not doing this to trace the face. I just want to make a region of difference between the shadow and the shadow and the head. See this? I'm going to make a difference between the hair here. And then I also want to highlight the region of the inner shadow part here on the face, but this mostly blue part. And then there's also this blue part that's coming out here. Okay. I'll draw the general shape of this, but this hair is very dynamic. I do like this kind of hair. Gives itself more room for shadows because of its complex shape. Right. We should do this. I'm not gonna worry about the flower here. Right. I'm gonna do this. This is also kind of almost like hair practice, gives me some practice for hair. I need to make sure that this is like a open spot on the hair, not like actual shadows. And now I'm gonna start highlighting areas of shadow. Deconstructing this is kind of fun actually. it's not about like just knowing where you're supposed to draw every time you sit down. It's mostly just building a visual library, kind of. And after you've built your visual library, it's easier to draw whatever you want. So I don't believe in people who say that you shouldn't draw without references, because if you don't draw references, then you're either some kind of god, or like or you were born with a exceptional gift that you're able to materialize things, or you have a photographic memory. So I think the most important thing about drawing is references, and I feel like a lot of people at other industries will agree with this. If you've seen like a lot of videos on YouTube, they've done thousands upon thousands of reference studies over the course of their life. As an animator, as a concept artist, so it's very important to do reference studies, I think. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the part. I'm going to use base color here. Right. Like this. This looks right. Oh, and I want to differentiate between some parts that I didn't differentiate earlier, but make sure I get the nose bridge. I also differentiate this part. This part makes the nose look attractive. Remember, I'm just highlighting the parts with the greatest differences, but I'm not concerned about minute details. We can always worry about minute details later. Oops. Right. So for this form, we have the complete outline. As possible. Okay. So one thing I want to highlight is the light is indeed. I want to add one called the light source. And we're gonna use this color for the direct light because that is definitely the color that's facing us. So I'm gonna draw a sun here. Sun is striking this part. I mean, you could, if I'm gonna be honest, you could spend like a whole lecture just on a single piece. But so maybe I'll spend like a whole lecture just on 2 or 3 pieces. I'll call this the base skin layer. I'm gonna make another one. I'll call this the first shadow layer. I want to simplify it. Okay. There are also some parts that I want to highlight more. For this one. Right. And instead of making another one for the blue layer, I'll just make an outline for the highlight layer. Because the blue layer itself is kind of like a base layer in a sense. If I were to start drawing the color of the hair, I would definitely start off with a oops. What pen was I using? Was I using this pen? No. Like if I were to start off using any color, I would definitely use this one. A lot of this is actually like willy-nilly color, like you don't need to concentrate on making the shape perfect. I'm just trying to highlight what should kind of look like for this figure specifically, and then I can probably talk about why the artists chose the regions that they did in a bit. Right. Then highlight color there, blue highlight here, dark shadow here. Look at how complicated this is already, right? I should delete this later. This one too. Because I wanna use this as a basis for other colors, right? So let's use this as a reference. Right? Kind of looks weird for the ear. Shadow, let me call the shadow 1, and I'm going to use something like this color, right? Oops, because it's not connected over here. Oh, oops. I was supposed to duplicate this. Shortcut away. Let me start off with highlighting the blouse, this color as well. This is what I want to focus on. Right. First shadow, and if I hide this, it already looks pretty similar. Let me make a folder for this so I can actually hide it better. Right, something like this, right? Right, it looks kind of similar. Like I did mess up the lines a bit, but it's fine. Right. Aside from that, now we can do the hair. So for the hair base layer, what I want is right. For the hair, I want this as the base. I want to highlight every single part. This part. Yeah, I don't believe that is part of the shadow. I just believe this is part of the hair. You already start seeing how diverse the hair looks. Well, we got most of it. There's still some parts I need to highlight at this point. Yeah. there doesn't seem to be any more reference after this part, so I'm not gonna bother. I apologize. Yeah. Okay. And I forgot to do the shadow in this part, so I'm gonna go back and fill in the shadow. And for this hair, I think I missed this part. Oops. Let's see. For the inner part of the ear, I want to do something like this as a base color. And for the skin, do this part. Okay. Here's a breakdown for the base colors for the hair, the skin, and then the shadows for the ear and for the body. I'm going to take these colors first. I'm gonna hide this one. Right. Use colors. Right. See what this color is. See. Oh, let me switch to color wheel. This color, see, it's like a very pale, direct diagonal. Look at that, see. Not only does it change in hue directly to the other side of the color wheel, this is really part of color theory, but anything that's directly opposite the other side in this color wheel is a good complementary color. So red and blue work well. Actually, it should be red and green, orange and blue, yellow and purple, kind of. But in this case, orange red and blue green works well together. They're dynamic enough that there's a very warm color for the skin, and then there's a very cool color for the shadows. Let's check the hair. Right, the hair is very similar to the shadow. So why is this important, right? In this entire piece, we really only see two primary colors. The warm color for the primary skin. Look, even in the ear, even though you can see that the saturation and value dropped a lot, you can see that the hue area still stays between red, orange, and red. So in this piece, we only have two primary colors, right? That's something I noticed about really dynamic pieces, right? You want to create a very high contrast between areas of light and areas of shadow. That gives your piece more focal points to focus on. So when I look at this piece, the first thing I notice is this spot, right? Because I see that there's a very high contrast between the skin and the shadow, right? Okay, we can go back, right? Okay, then let's see how they did the hair, right? So for the hair, maybe it's better if I put the references up top, like so. So it's easier for me to flip back and forth, right? And now for this color, I want something very deep, like this color. Let me call this hair shadow, and let me use to skin shadow. We want there to be a very high difference between the skin and the hair shadow, right? Because there is a difference. You cannot tell. this region to be dark. This region, this region, this region, this region, this region. Oops. Some of my lines are really bad. I might have to go back and fix them later. This region. Make sure I don't get this region contaminated. This should stay this color. Oops. I did it on the wrong layer again. Let me backtrack. Make sure I should be on this layer. Choose here's a shadow. This here too. This here, this here. There are definitely spots I wanna fix now. So now would be a good time. I'll cut it off here. It'll be fine. So my marker is being a bit funky. There's some areas of hair that I don't really care about. Let's see. I think this should be fun enough now. And this. What is up? What the hell? Didn't include the value. Let's see. Alright, this looks good. Okay. Let's compare. Okay, that looks good. And then I wanna I'm gonna add the here's highlights now. I'm gonna call this highlight 1. Highlight 1. Gonna show this. I want the highlight 1 to be only this color, right? This is the one that's indirect light, kind of bounces off, but it's not directly concentrated. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Not this here. This here. Even though this is a stronger highlight, I'm still using the base highlight on the bottom because I will add on top of that later. Okay, that's good. Highlight 1. Now for highlight 2, I'm going to add all of the other highlights that are much stronger. And have various different colors to them, right? So this is the first one I want to do. This one right here. And then this other one. I want the one that's blue here. I'll consider this a highlight as well, rather than like see-through hair. Even though I think it's trying to show that see-through. It's not too apparent, but I think that's enough. And then after that, what I want to do, I think we're mostly done with the hair, right? The reason why it doesn't look similar is because they do add a little bit more shades, but I don't think we should be too concerned about that. As beginners, I think it's more important to basically get an idea of how the hair is interacting with the sunlight and how the colors are picked. So now I'm going to work on other parts of the skin. I want to make one just for lips. Let's call this lips. Okay. Want this color. Try this. I want this above the skin shadow. Looks like he's opening his mouth, but it's just his lips. I didn't draw it too good. I want one for the skin highlight, so I'm gonna color. I'm gonna call this skin highlight 1, and I'm gonna use that for the lips and for the edges of the skin. So before I do that, I want to go back and see what color they picked. Right, it's a very orange color, very orange saturated color to show a clear divide. Pulls your eye. It'd be cool if I had a reference on the side. Right. You see how this goes all the way down? Sorry. I'm going to try to highlight this along the edge instead of on the line itself. I think doing it on the line itself makes it look a bit weird. See that it gets kind of flatter near the bottom. I'm gonna do this part well, but instead of using orange, what we'll do is we'll use the very saturated red. Right, the saturated red, make it more apparent. And then we want to do the same thing for the nose. Kind of mimic the way you see on the skin, so you see how only two sides, you don't see any of that red reflection on this side because it's covered. So you always want to keep that in mind. If the sun is going from right, it's on your right shining to the left, you will only see that color on the left surface if you have a skin like this. If it's pointing from left to right, you'll only see the color on the right surface. So whatever direction it's pointing to will be the side that has that highlight. That's something I just learned 3 seconds ago. Interesting. So I think we're mostly done. You can choose to give the eyebrow color the same color as the hair shadow. You can do this. If you want, you can add a little accessory. Oh, and I want the skin shadow. I also want to use this color, right? This color for the skin shadow. I don't want to go into ear too much. I guess you can. I'll do it for the highlights because I don't think it's something you should overanalyze, because yes, the ears are really good, but they are also more of like for pros more so than for newbies to worry about. Right? They should be adding to your repertoire, not subtracting from it. Change the color. I kind of see this red inner glow, kind of. And this kind of like a gradient here. Right. Kind of shadow here, kind of shadow here. And if you really want, you can do something like this. It's kind of painstakingly hard to do. Right. You're going to like shift this back and then handle this. Look at how complicated that looks. Do you really want to do this? I can demonstrate definitely. Right. On skin highlights, I'm gonna try to use a color like this. Right. Skin highlight to be somewhere like here. I want it to be here. Right, not this side. Right, so like this. And something here down below. Notice how the areas of the highest values are right next to the areas of the darkest values, right? So you want to do skin shadow here as well. Let me do some color like this one. Here, like so. Right. Do color like here. High latency. Ooh. this, like this. Like this. And after we're done, I'm gonna decompose this by removing all the colors and going one layer at a time. Okay. Right now we're just copying, right? We're not concerned about being God. We're becoming God by learning how these things work. You don't become God overnight. Becoming God is a process that takes time. Let's call this accessory. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this blue color here. Oops. Somewhere here. Okay. So we've fully completed this piece. Now it's the fun part. Right. Now what I want to do is go one layer at a time. Right. So for the base layer, pretty simple. We just trace the outline. Skin layer, 2 shades, very similar to each other, right? This will be useful too. Let me check the color shades here. I want this to be here, right next to each other. Look at the shift. Always in the red-orange region, but you make it more saturated for the inside of the ear, and then you also so shift it down in value and in but increase saturation, right? Looks like bacon. No, it is not bacon. Let's check the shadow part. Shadow part. Let's check the colors between. Actually, let me just go through of them one by one. Lips. Orange skin highlight. Remember 2 colors, one for direct light, one for the indirect light. Hair color, I'm gonna do this separately. Hair color here. Hair shadows. Darker shadows. Hair highlight. Then hair highlight too. Accessories. There's only one accessory. You can put it over here. And that is the full breakdown. And actually, I want to increase this color too. Full highlight. I don't want to forget about the lips. Lips on point. Here, like so. And we are going to go to our color wheel now. check what we mentioned earlier. Skin, hair, big contrast between shadow and hair, very similar. Right, for the hair, drop value. You can make it more desaturated if you want to show more of the light part, or you can make it more saturated if you want to show more of the shadow part. It depends on what you want the eyes to focus on more. So for this piece, it looks like what you do want to focus on is the details between the shadows and the hair, the base color of the hair. So they had a really strategic choice in choosing the color properly. Orange and blue highlights. Yeah, orange just fits well with any kind of blue tone. Skin, once again. Lips, kind of purple color. This is the one thing I don't think I still understand. Maybe it's because red and blue shadow like would result in purplish color, especially the more vibrant it is. Highlights, well, not highlights, but colors. Yeah, I think that's good for. So I'm gonna probably name these, right? Text. Call it this skin. Base. Base accessory. Earring. Here. I like this one. I want to do more. Referencing. This one is good. I do like dynamic lighting. Oh, and this one next. I want to do these two next actually. I want to do this one first. And then I want to do, yes, I want to do this one afterwards. And before I do that, one last thing I want to do is I want to go through each layer one by one. What I mean by that is isolating, right? So in the skin, the shadow, the lips, the skin highlight, the hair, the shadow, area of highlight, and area of highlight 2, and the earring. I'm going to save this as reference 1. Let's make another folder. We'll call this reference 2. I'm going to go take a break and we will resume in a couple of minutes. Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. I was talking to my roommate about something. So, which piece do we want to do now? Let's see. Yeah, I want to do this one first. Oops. So, once again, I'm going to start off with a outline there. This time, I want to be more careful about how I give the outline. So, oops. Sometimes I include less details on purpose because a lot of details kind of obfuscate the drawing itself. Right. That's fine. Right. I think I want to use this general region. And you'll probably see my style by now, but I really like anime. That's my style after all. Let's decrease the, no, not this one. Let's decrease the value of this so I can actually see what I'm doing. Right. I'm gonna ignore the petals. I don't think they contribute too much to this piece. Well, they do contribute, but not in the lighting sense, right? They contribute in the detail sense, right? I'm gonna highlight some of the bigger areas of emptiness. So this is definitely, these areas are pretty big in terms of emptiness. Right. For the hair, this is a very big area of light. Very big area of light. Yeah, I'm just blocking the general shapes. I'm not going too much about. So I think what makes this piece stand out the most is the hair itself. After all, the hairs are the windows to the soul. That was a joke. I like to focus more on hair overall than the face, because for me drawing faces is pretty simple, but for hair, the more detailed make it, I feel like the more it contributes to the piece overall. And I'd say it just looks nice. think this is good for the overall outline on this area of light. This is like its hat or something. Oh, so she's like a nun, I guess. And this is kind of like looks like this. This here is insane. Probably one of the most amount of details seen here in a while. Sure, highlight this region of shadow, and this is probably the most important part. I want to highlight all of these light strands. I don't know what this is. Looks like some kind of amulet. It's a bit of shadow here. Check out this entire part is in light. Oh, I love dynamic light. It just feels so good to draw. It's one of the best feelings in the world, at least, well, to me at least. And this is good for most of the areas. Highlight this part for mouth shadow. This face shadow is also very unique. Two face shadows, and most of the other parts are obscured. And I'm going to draw the outline of the hair. It's a bit darker. I haven't drawn anything as detailed as this in a while. I used to draw much more detail, but once again, I used to draw on Roblox. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before in the game Free Draw. So now that I changed to CSP, I realized that my style has changed and I've been making less detailed pieces. What's going on? Never mind. Complicated piece. Let's hide this. Okay, I think we got most of it. Let me highlight this area. And I'm not gonna worry about the clothes. I think I want to worry more about the hair itself. And see, I want to mark out the dark areas. This area is dark. I think we got most of the shadows. Like this. I'm not gonna bother with the eye, I think. So, increase the brightness. Now, let's start off with what I presume to be the base color. Wow, this is actually a pretty hard one. I think this piece is most of it is in shadow. I want to make a clear distinction in this here. Kind of looks weird, I think. this one looks better. So this part looks like it's kind of green too. So based on my reference, I kind of want to highlight this region. This is a really complicated piece. I don't even know if these are petals or light. I think it's petals. I don't even know. Let's try. This has so many layers of rendering on it. Oh my god. Let's just make this a base skin layer. Let's see the base color. This is actually really interesting. I want to see what color this is on the color wheel. Blue. Mid levels of value and very desaturated. Okay, so it's just way more. So it's almost like the skin color we used for the other one, but instead you just shifted it all the way here. And you drop the value. Okay, makes sense since this is mostly a strong contrast piece in shadow. For the hair color, this is most definitely the base hair color. So I'm gonna fix the edge. On be more precise. Put this here. This looks fine. Let me open this up as a reference. I don't think we're gonna get to a lot of references today, but that's okay. Let's focus on perfection. Not perfection. Let's focus on getting to these before the other ones. Still somewhat annoyed that OBS decided to die this morning, so I think to make up for that, we'll probably just be streaming for another extra hour or 30 minutes. Oh, I think I messed up. This is supposed to be white. Yeah. There we go. I really like the light on the hair. I'll start with that hair light because I think that's the one that stands out the most. And this piece I think is a bit harder to like totally break down. I did use this for the backlight, so I want to use a more neutral color for the so like this. Here base, then we call this here a shadow. The hell? Whoa. Ooh, and not duplicate this later. I might include more details in this area too. There should be a term for this called over detailing. The amount of details that are in this piece is impressive, but a lot of them get overlooked. I'm not saying this to devalue the artists themselves, but some things you need to look at like multiple times to like finally get like every single detail. I just sometimes think it's probably unnecessary to add so much details that people are not gonna notice them at a first or second glance. Like now I'm noticing things on like the fourth glance, or like the fifth glance, and I don't think that's amazing. Okay, I think this piece is amazing, but I don't think it should be taking people this long to actually notice things. Especially for the regular folks, I think this is more for like an artist. Like artists will go insane over this, but normal people will just be like, "Huh, this is cool." You know, I like the hair, I like the lighting. Then I'll be like, "Whoa, look at the way they shape the lighting. Look at the way the lighting is coming down. Or look at the way he's doing the highlights in the back. Like, look at the way he's incorporating over a dozen of these triangular shapes to make the hair pop out." Like at first glance, I'm just gonna notice. Okay, I see the lighting here, see the backlighting here. Like if his goal is to, if the goal was to increase detail, like if you look at it like this closely, yeah, it looks amazing. But if you look at it from like a glance, oh, it's pretty good. So yeah, over detailing I've seen a lot. I think this is a good example of over detailing, and that they have a good balance between the colors and the line art. I'm gonna delete this. Let's see how this looks. Do I leave this region out? I think that's most of it. I messed up by making this the same layer as the line art, so I'm gonna go back in time, paste this, delete this, and then yeah, that's how I did it. Yes, I'm a genius. I'm gonna do this part. This is a close. I'm just gonna make the close on one layer. Skin shading. I'll make another one. And then I want one for skin light. Oops. Something in this color. Bit of radiance, bit of light. The hat, I'll put this on the same layer as the clothes. What is this one? A shadow. So let's close right here, here, here. Then we want this here to be the back. This is some kind of net thing. This right. This. For now. I might separate this actually. I think it would be interesting. The rendering for this is really insane though. Not gonna lie. I know I said this like 20 times already, but in a good way and in a bad way. Hide all these layers. This one. I want to kind of differentiate between the regions of highlight and low light. Look at this. Jesus Christ. I want to redo the close layer. Yes, there is indeed a color difference in the hair, but I think this is fine. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is part of the hair. This might actually be part of the clothes. Yeah. It just kind of looks like it. Clothes. I'm gonna do this for the base. Do kind of this color, this internal shadow part, this color. For clothes, we have 3 layers for the bottom and 1 layer for the top. Oh. I think these are also closed in the back. Okay, shadows. Okay. And then the clothes, I'm not gonna render the clothes. We're gonna do that with different pieces on a different day. So for now, I'm just gonna block in this entire area. here. I know what's going on. I want his secondary shadows, and I want this to be this color. Push these. Okay, here to have more highlights as well. What you do is this. It's really hard to see because of the way I blended it. We want the color to be this kind of blue. This one I don't think I did a good job on because it's a bit complicated, so I don't think I've reached the skill level to fully understand this piece yet. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to decompose this piece. For the skin, I'm gonna go one layer at a time. Oh, not this one. 2. Skin. Then light. do the hair, base color for the hair, and the shade. We will analyze all of this later until we take down the colors. The clothes. So with the darkest color. These two colors. Okay. And we have all the colors. So I'm going to create a text layer. Keep in mind, there are a lot of things I left out on this one, particularly because the rendering is very difficult to understand. Skin here. This kind of looks weird. Okay. So anatomical breakdown. I think, I'm sorry guys, but I think 2 pieces is enough for today. But I want to spend a little time digesting what we worked on. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to switch to the color wheel. I'm going to go through each color. This is the base color, and this is the skin shadow color. So we do see it's shifted a tiny bit to light blue, and its value definitely dropped. So one thing I do tend to notice for shadows is that if you come over here, the biggest thing is that there's always a downward shift and maybe a rightward shift as well. So for these two pieces, both the shadow was more saturated, but also it was much darker in value, right? But keep in mind this, and there was a color shift. For this one, the color shift is more dynamic because this one focuses more on the skin, where this one is more subtle because it focuses on the hair color itself. So that's it. And then for the light, you see it is much more higher in value. It is about the same color as the skin color, but it's just much more shifted in value, so it's much lighter. So the skin for this one is pretty basic. You see that it's pretty much just in this range, right? In this blue range kind of. Here, now this is how we create contrast with this piece. The skin color and the hair color, there's a massive jump. So for the base hair color, we see a very light, very bright color, and it's like magenta to red. And then for the shadow, we shift back into this range, although it's not entirely in this range. We do see a downward and more saturated shift. Once again, we see this kind of saturation, right? You look at this, we don't see it, which is kind of interesting. We actually see a less saturated version, but for this one, we do see a more saturated version for the hair. And then for the for the midtone, it's much more closer to the original hair color than the dark shadows. So this pronounces the light spots a lot more. And then for this, which is kind of like the highlights, we see that it's also pretty much in that same ballpark of value and saturation as the secondary tone, but it just shifted into the blue zone entirely, right? It's basically in the same zone as the skin color, except it's tiny more desaturated and darker in value, which is interesting. Clothes, it's almost completely dark, like middle in terms of saturation. For the two midtones that they use, it's also very dark, even more desaturated than before, but this somehow gives it a illusion of lightness, even though it's also super dark, right? And it shifted into the pink and red ranges, closer to that of the hair color here, right? Only difference is that one of them is super light and one of them is super dark. And this is for the cap. The cap itself is fairly simple. It's almost mimics that of the hair color here, but except it's just shifted more into the red zone, right? Maybe these two are more similar. And if we put all of this in grayscale, right, to create a new layer, set this to I think saturation, bucket tool, set this out. One thing we do notice is that for both pieces, what stands out the most is the hair. The hair itself is very, very dark compared to, well, especially the shaded part is very dark. That's how you give the hair value and form. But the light part of the hair is different. It's almost the same. Like for this one, it almost looks like it's the same value. Find the color wheel for this part. See, for this part, especially the highlight of the hair is lighter. So the hair won't always be darker than the skin. It really depends on lighting scenario. Whereas for this piece, right, check this out. Look at how light this is and how dark this is. Especially where the direct light is hitting, will be darker than parts of the skin and shadow. We see darkest colors on the clothes, which is understandable. They absorb the most light, and here at least there's some kind of bounce, right? So I think this was a pretty informative shorter stream we did today. I do apologize for the issues we had with the stream earlier with the OBS, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.